I am not a Martian. I've been accused of that all my childhood. Don't bring that up, Pika. I'm never getting to Mars. But we deserve to get there. Hey, it's Reverend Sully, Eric O'Sullivan, ordained on the internet. The caveat, as always, please do not burn your hands holding on to my hot takes. If you do, well, that's on you, pal or gal, or anywhere you identify in the great spectrum of humanity. Hot cup of coffee. That's good. So, I'm a huge sci-fi fan. I really am. I like smart science fiction, and it's where you can be grounded at the same time, let your imagination go. Because you need sound kind of scientific stuff to exist in space. This is true, and we've grown up basically with a couple of generations of internet and the International Space Station, which is great, which is a great agreement between nations. You know, the Chinese are building their own, and that's fine too. Basically, this is more of the ISS is an old U.S. Soviet kind of thing, but still, it's great. But one thing I like about science fiction is that it turns you on to science fact. And anyone out there with a sci-fi noodle, hopefully you can appreciate this, because I think of this often, especially now that we're in the age of privatization of private companies being able to boost payloads into low and high orbit. It's a really, really interesting time to be a sci-fi fan. I mean, quite literally, if you can afford it, you can get to space for an hour. That's been kind of like a joke in culture for about 30 years now, but that's the truth of this. There's going to be a tourist market to, would you rather go to space for an hour, or would you rather go to Disneyland for a couple of days? That's something that's on the table right now. And just for the record, I do neither. I don't do well on roller coasters. So I've literally had nightmares about being stuffed into a booster and sent into orbit. And there's a lot of it, big anxiety dreams. There's a lot to do with breathing. I was an asthmatic. Sue me. Okay, so getting back to it, I want to bring up something you might not be aware of, especially with the privatization of payload delivery into orbit. That doesn't, okay, this it's not about a country getting into space anymore. But this was the United Nations Office for Outer Space Affairs in 1966 helped ratify the Outer Space Treaty of 1967. This is a UN thing. Countries, there are 194 recognized nation states in the on the world, recognized by the UN in 2021. And new countries sign on to this almost, like every year. It starts simple and, of course, gets, amended over the years, especially in the early 70s. But it has the Outer Space Treaty has 17 articles, and it's a lot to do with about the state, capital S state, and that means the nation state that agree to this treaty. And it's about the jurisdiction includes the moon and other celestial bodies. That's repeated in every article. And it's about fair usage, and it's about also here's one, Article 4, state parties to the treaty undertake not to place in orbit around the Earth any object carrying nuclear weapons or any other kind of weapons of mass destruction. Install such weapons on celestial bodies, or stations such weapons in outer space in any other manner. That's a good one. The moon and other celestial bodies shall be used by all capital S state, capital P parties to the capital T treaty, exclusively for peaceful purposes. Yeah, the establishment of military bases, installations, and fortifications, the testing of any type of weapons, and the conduct of military maneuvers on celestial bodies shall be forbidden. The use of military personnel for scientific research or for any other peaceful purposes shall not be prohibited. That's, the use of military personnel for scientific research or for any other peaceful purpose. Yeah, it's about science and peaceful purpose. You can use military personnel. See, that's cool. The use of any equipment or facility necessary for peaceful exploration of the moon and other celestial bodies shall also not be prohibited. Yeah, that's Article 4 of the Outer Space Treaty of 1967. Just one of the 17 articles. I mean, I don't want to go on and bore you about this. I like the opening of Article 6, capital S, capital P, capital T. State parties. So these are parties to the treaty, capital T. States are the nation states, such as there were 5 countries, the Soviet Union, no longer there, the U.S., Great Britain, and was it China as well? I'm not sure. But, and then there's also another page, the status of treaties, such as in 6th of July 2021, accession by Bahrain to the Convention on Registration of Objects Launched into Space. 27th January 2021, accession by the Duchy of Luxembourg to the Convention on Registration of Objects Launched into Outer Space. And it goes on and on. So there is a real thing out there. It's called the United Nations Outer Space Treaty of 1967. So now we're in the future. Now it's 55 years later, and this piece of international legislation is still being adopted by smaller nation states because we're going up there. This is some law that's going to finally be applied. And then to read the articles, Article 1 just starts off, first sentence: the exploration and use of outer space, including the moon and other celestial bodies, shall be carried out for the benefit and in the interests of all countries, irrespective of their degree of economic or scientific development, and shall be the province of all mankind. Don't you love it when government documents start out so bold and so, just, and so hopeful, and we're gonna do this the right way. Yeah, I mean, Article 1 continues, outer space, including the moon and other celestial bodies, shall be free for exploration and use by all states, capital S, without discrimination of any kind, on a basis of equality and in accordance with international law. And there shall be free access to all areas of celestial bodies. And there shall be freedom of scientific investigation in outer space, including the moon and other celestial bodies. See, that phrase is repeated on purpose throughout the spans of the Outer Space Treaty. Article 2, it's very short, one sentence. Let's get to it. This is great. Outer space, including the moon and other celestial bodies, is not subject to national appropriation by claim of sovereignty, by means of use or occupation, or by any other means. How is that? That's great. But Are we coming into conflicts with the Outer Space Treaty of 1966? We have Chinese rovers on the moon. We have United States rovers on the moon. We have Saudi or Middle Eastern, Arab-based satellites around. I meant Mars. We've got a Chinese rover on Mars. We've got a Chinese rover on Moon. We've got an American rover on Mars. We've got American satellites on Mars and Chinese satellites. But there's also an Arab-based nation that has a Mars satellite. Are we prospecting like we did in the gold rush or the oil rush? Or what wealth of resources are we expecting on the red planet? It seems to have international attention. And cui bono? Who profits? Seriously. So, my question is, going forward, after 55 years, will the Outer Space Treaty, and how will it be respected going forward? As now we're legitimately getting out there. And how does the private sector figure into this? Really? Because now we have payloads that can be delivered without reliance upon the government of the nation state. So, it's a fabulous time to not just be science fiction minded, but science reality minded as well. And we're in, I'm going to say it, we're in the second space age. And we're in the second space race. And it's what a good time to be alive and to be witnessing this. I would love to see people on Mars. That would just thrill me. I'd like to be one of them. You could bring my ashes up there too. Listen, it was an old joke growing up. They used to call me Eric the Martian because I had my head in science fiction. And you know what? Yeah, sure, it was teasing. It might have been even bullying here and there. But that's the same kind of story we share. We used to be the outsiders, but but yeah, they used to tease me a lot, calling me the Martian, but maybe my ashes can end up there, with an affordable payload delivery. I can see that happening. My eternal remains can be, I was born here, but I will end up there. That's feasible. It really is. And will it be through some kind of application of the Outer Space Treaty? Or will some corporation get to Mars first and say, I stake my claim. I'm not, I don't have to be part of terrestrial nation states and law like that on that level anymore. I'm here. Can I stake my claim? Won't it be? Yeah. I find that fascinating. And I found that is part of our future. And may I be around long enough to see these dramas unfold in the news in the days ahead. Well, thank you so much for tuning in today. I really appreciate it. Oh, darn good cup of coffee. Sorry about that. I am not sorry. I'm going to have some more when I finish this. Maybe make some more. This is the last of the Ethiopian Sidamo. This is some wonderful coffee. Next, I'm going to start on his blends because I heard he's got some. Dell has some Bali Blue Moon smuggled into one of his blends now, and that interests me as a coffee fan. And this interests me as a sci-fi fan because this is science reality, and this is how our space race is going to literally unfold before our eyes. And we're here. We're getting to the future. We're getting out there. We will get to the Mars. We will put a presence on the moon. And maybe even get out to the asteroid belt and see what we can find there. What we can do at Lagrange points. What we can do with astronomy. Like the Webb satellite, the Webb telescope just got out there. What are we going to see? What are we going to find? This is a great time to be a science fiction fan and of a scientist mind and heart. Who did that to me? That was Mr. Spock, the science officer and first officer of the USS Enterprise. Fascinating. I am not Herbert. Thank you so much for tuning in about the UN Outer Space Treaty of 1966, 67, and how it's going to apply today and going forward tomorrow. And what do you think? Leave a comment in the comment section. Let's continue this conversation. That would be awesome. Give me a thumbs up if you like this kind of material. Give me a thumbs down if you didn't. I'm a big lad. I can handle it. And you know what? Someday I'd like to earn your subscription. I make cooking videos. I'm a professional line cook. I can share with you my restaurant hacks so you can make nutritious, delicious, and beautiful food for you to share with your family at your table. Breaking breads with loved ones should never be taken for granted. And have some gratitude and feel blessed. And I'm also an amateur theologian and an ordained minister, hence Reverend Sully. So thanks for tuning into Reverend Sully's channel. And yeah, we are getting out there. We're already there. You know? And this has been like, that's footage from the 1969 Saturn V launch. This is a chemical rocket that is able to deliver a payload, out of low orbit and to the moon, which takes a lot more chemicals. And yeah, I like space elevators. That's my sci-fi. No more dependence on chemical rockets, huh? Think about your carbon footprint. Let's get that space elevator built. All right, bye-bye.